Hi everyone. Hello and welcome back on inkpothub.com. So today we are joined with Professor Rishi Raj Sharma. He is Associate Dean at one of the regional campus of Guru Nanak Dev University and he specializes in marketing, advertising, research. So thank you so much Professor for joining us today. Professor, please share your research journey so far in the area of marketing.
Yeah. It was it started 20 years back when I joined into the field of teaching, and thereupon I was into administration and research, both the things I carried over. And as far as the research, you say, that has been always the thrust of my activities because it was my passion and my love for research which actually made me grow, which actually made me do the things. And I have always been deeply involved in all sort of research activities, right from the writing of the papers, be it training of the people in the workshops, be it be representing in the conferences or representing anywhere. So research was always the first love. Like research is a big area, and my domain always have been marketing research and advertising research, and then other areas which are linked with it, like IT enabled marketing, IT enabled advertising, so viral advertising, electronic word of mouth advertising. Till now I have guided 5 PhD scholars, 8 are working with me, and this research is a continuous process, and I feel that I have been developing with them day by day. And I started way back in 2000 and now it's 2020. A lot of changes have been made, and there was a time when we were having things like review was to be collected from the libraries and all, but now we have digital databases, and they are very efficient and potent statistical tools which we are using now. I have been into the area of scale development and business modeling. This is my focus, this is my thrust. You have to establish a relationship between cause and effect, and that cause and effect is in the form of variables, and those variables have to be depicted in the form of causal model. So this is my viewpoint about the research, and this is what I have been guiding about.
And you are also in the administrative activities. So how, being an associate dean, you inculcate the research environment in your university?
So when I joined this, my basic, primarily we have to focus first upon the teaching of the students, because the researcher and the student, like, we have to differentiate first. There are basic students who are like at the graduate or at the postgraduate level. First they have to be told about the concepts, that's what the basic teaching is, and we have to train them for the placement and all, and that is the basic objective. But of those few, like, who are actually serious and they want to pursue their career as a researcher or as a teacher further, then they of course appear for some tests like JRF and all, because in university system we just try to incorporate those people into the research who have actually gone through UGC test of national eligibility test for lectureship or for research fellowship. So we take them, we take them with us, we induct them, and once we induct them, we teach them how we can go with that, and that process is like starting from the scratch. What I'm keen with the fellows is I put them directly into the field of publishing. I ask them to have to review very rigorously, and with that rigor you actually come out with a lot of insights. Because domain is your own, domain is what you are interested into, but then that domain selection again is a thing which should be taken out from some of the review studies, and once you find out the domain, then you again try. So actually it's a process when the view is very broad.
Exactly.
And from that broad view you keep on reading, and with your insight you come with a research problem, and you focus towards something very particular, and then you carry over with that as a research. And as I've already told you that we intend to build scales, we intend to modify scales, refine scales, and we intend to finally go for business models. And as for the motivation level is concerned, the people are motivated because they know that the quality of publication is actually going to help them in making their career bright. Because whatever PhDs you do, they don't carry any percentage or a tag value. PhD carries only one value, and that is how many papers you publish out of it.
Exactly.
And what are the practical implications of your thesis. This impactful research is very important, and I have been always stressing upon the impactful research, and my scholars, they are very clear. Right from the day one I explain them, the first thing is, if you read good, then only you can produce good. It's only possible like if you read that. If you don't read that material, I don't think that you can go along with that. So your basis should be clear, your basics should be very, very thorough, and they can be only if you start good. Because nowadays, this publishing is becoming business also, and with the advent of a lot of scorecards and all, so what is happening is people are trying to publish anything anywhere. That's not research. That's what I want to say. So we have to go for the impactful research. So this is my message, and I motivate my students, and fortunately they work good. That's it. As far as you say environment is concerned, we keep on organizing workshops to train them, even free of cost FDPs. We have been organizing by the help of HRDC Center. We have here in the University Center of Data Analytics and Research. We have ICCR Northern Region Center, and that is in Punjab University, Chandigarh, and I have affiliations with them. So at times we encourage participants. That is something which we have been always thankful to our collaborators, to our resource persons, to everyone else who has contributed for this journey.
Like, it's really very important to like publish in the quality journals, and so it's really very important to provide them hands-on experience, and your work is really incredible how you have inculcated all the research ecosystem in your university. So sir, I know writing a research paper is not a cakewalk for everyone. So in your 20 years of experience, research experience, so you may have faced any rejections on your research paper, or maybe a review comment. How you handle that rejections or reviewers comment on your research paper?
See, like Mr. Nishan, there's nothing like rejection or failure. So this is all part of journey. So once you are through with the your research activities, you have to accept one thing, that if you want to make an impact, you have to go for good journals. Definitely you will face rejections at a very primary level. Once you write something, you may not be up to the mark. You may not be matching the standards of those people, and then finally, the beauty of this system is, even if there is a rejection, they tell you what are your pitfalls, what are your areas you lack upon, and then you develop upon them. That is very important. And what I have learned from my experiences, like Indians especially nowadays, whatever the trend is, we are going with a lot of very good statistical tools and all, but not with a very proper theoretical frameworks. We develop a model at times, and that model is not based upon some very concrete theories. There we lack. So those model explanation, those variables explanation, they should be based upon proper thorough content of research. You cannot just take anything and try to predict anything, because software is a tool. It will bring out some results. Whatever data you put in over there, it has to give some results. But it is your insight as a researcher, like what I should intend to put into that, so that I get a meaningful result out of it. And probably, once you put something meaningful inside, then only meaningful output is going to come. We are not doing very drastic results, we are incrementing the previous researchers. So there is always a process, like series is like A1, A2, A3, A4, A5, and then there is a gap. So you establish that gap, and you keep on working upon that. Your path is defined. For me, like making of any research problem is the most important task. And for me, one good research problem formulated is half the work done. And then you have to go through a very proper, collection of data. And then the process of data cleaning is again very, very important, because you encounter many problems like perceptual bias of the people over there, or anything for that matter, which brings errors to your, calculations. So you have to clean your data. Once you clean your data, and then finally you go through making of a model or anything, and a scale and all. So try to adopt or adapt something, which is more feasible. But these questions of validity, reliability, they are always there. So you have to actually follow all the mathematical steps in between. So as you have said that once you face a rejection, I don't take it as a rejection. I always take it as, commendable comments, which I have to work upon more. And that actually, many a times, it is a great help. Like I always appreciate the reviewers. Even if they reject, they won't say that we don't accept this paper. They will say we are not going to publish this paper because of the following reasons. This is reviewer 1, then this is reviewer 2. And if you start working upon those concepts, and definitely then you focus upon the research journal once again, after improving upon those concepts, and you have a chance, and then you put in there, And good paper is always a paper which has faced some rejection, some revisions, and then
Absolutely.
it's not a cakewalk, as you have said. You just can't put in a paper and it will be accepted. If it is accepted like this, I feel then that is very dangerous.
Yes,
You should not publish like this, because I always tell my student that if you want to see the quality of a paper, just try to read out at the side, at the left or the right side, the right, that this paper was received on this date, revised first on this, revised then on this, and then finally accepted. So this procedure itself shows that how many revisions have been made, and these revisions are actually bringing out that quality out of you. And it's a beautiful journey. You don't develop as a researcher in one day. It is a continuous process. That is very important.
So you rightly said research is really very beautiful journey if we keep on
Yes,
working on the
definitely,
data and a lot of other things. So there are a lot of aspiring scholars, those are looking for research as a career option and working on different papers, researching a lot. What message you would like to give to those researchers to do path-breaking research?
Yes, so this is very important, and rather this is very significant questions. One thing I have already said is, first you have to select your domain in which you are interested in.
Exactly.
That is very important. You cannot follow your anyone's else conviction and work with that. This is fine. If you want to arrive at a destination, so that destination should be yours. Then only you will be motivated. Fine. So you should think your destination, what it is, what outputs you want to get out of it, number two, and then finally who can take you along. So for me, all the processes, even the selection of guide, even the selection of the right domain, then reading a lot, what exactly should your research problem should be, and then after having that insight, when you develop a research problem, then you start working upon that, then you have a feel that you can go through. But very important thing is you should have a research aptitude, and I'm sorry to say that everyone is not having the right kind of research aptitude.
Exactly.
Because
Right,
research
sir.
aptitude is, you have to be very sternest, you have to be very strong, and these rejections, they shouldn't matter for you, and they should be rather meant to to chisel your abilities, which can sharpen your skills, writing skills or analytical skills, whatever it is. And every researcher has one finer point, and at the same time every researcher has a one point which is weak at. You collaborate with good people. That is again very important. Research is not a very it's not a journey where you can go along alone. This is unfortunately, this is what is happening, because what is happening in India especially, people are doing the researches and they're very selfish about sharing their researches and their experiences, and this collaboration is not happening. So you just see, when collaboration will not happen, you're working in isolation, and in isolation you have no standards to match with. So you feel you are doing best,
Absolutely.
and finally you face rejection, and again you are facing your depression alone. That's it. So if you're working in a team, you're working in collaboration, you have actually, for me it's always like that. Many years back I went to IIM Ahmedabad, and I met one of the professors over there, a very famous professor, and that meeting itself meant like reading a lot of research articles. They were equivalent to one meeting. That is when you meet one good person. So see, if you want to run, you want to make yourself an athlete, you cannot make the other person run for you.
Absolutely.
So you have to run yourself, and I always believe in one thing, that if you want to go to the heaven, you have to die. Nobody else can die for you, and then you are placed in the heaven. So that's not so. If same thing is implied here, you have to actually, death here is not you have to kill yourself. What I mean, that you have to perspire yourself. You should not try. You should not look towards others, that they'll do something for you and they'll do something path breaking for you. You look towards any researcher. They have worked, they have toiled up, and they have not cared about anything else what is happening in the world, because for every researcher there is a time when he's deeply involved into his own process. I always tell my scholars that you will not learn anything before you start writing.
So thank you so much, sir, for sharing your golden views, and your work in the research world is really incredible. We have learned a lot, and I think all the viewers and all the aspiring scholars will do as per your guidance what exactly you have guided us today. So thank you so much, Professor.